It's about the restoration of our republic. We want to educate, encourage, enable the power. We stand for integrity, honesty, self-reliance, self-defense, and most importantly, no compromise on our foundational principles. This is America's Voice Now.
Find America's Voice Now on Facebook and at americasvoicenow.org. Here's Michael Evans.
All right, America. You're listening to America's Voice Now. Good morning. If you're just joining with us, thank you. Appreciate your attendance. We are at the middle mark of our show on Friday, November 8th, 2013. If you're just joining us, we covered two very important topics, including the president's apology for Americans losing their insurance, but no apology for his clear and obvious misrepresentation and lies with the intent to defraud America. We also touched on our second topic, how Russia and China are circling a flailing, blood-leaking America like sharks in the water. They smell the blood. And we are at risk of losing our entire nation, not only to our own internal tyrants, but to tyrants afar, who've been enriching themselves at our expense for decades now, with the help and the approval of these people in power. Our next topic, and the topic we're going to cover here, is the MANPAD missiles that are flowing into Syria and the Middle East. These are the same missiles that I talked about in Benghazi, literally within a week or two of Benghazi's happening. That's what Benghazi was really about. That's why we can't get a true investigation. That's why the Department of State is hiding the names of the survivors and the victims and the people who are still in the hospital. That's why the military and the United States government are changing the names and moving and hiding people who were there and have knowledge. That is why the Department of Defense and the CIA and all the other black op agencies out there are making these people who have inside knowledge sign off on non-disclosure agreements and get polygraph tested every two weeks to a month, when according to anyone in the Spec Ops community, that happens maybe once a year, once every 2 years. But they want to know who's leaking. This was all about an illegal arms deal, an Iran-Contra type illegal arms deal. And these weapons are anti-aircraft, shoulder-fired, heat-seeking weapons. So let's just analyze that for a moment. We know that 20,000 of them disappeared. That statistically should tell you that there will not be a safe aircraft in the sky, commercial or military, civilian or government-sponsored, for the next 50 years. What does that tell you? That tells me that this is the Hegelian dialectic at work. Create a crisis. How? Well, we'll flood the Middle East with weapons. So if we flood the Middle East with weapons, we have done exactly that which we stand against in the war on terror. So the goal now is to now get the public to see the danger of these terrorists that we have to expend all of our money on and strip all your freedoms and your liberties away for, to keep you safe. That's what it's all about. And now we're seeing the results of that. Those results are literally the fact that our nation is now at risk because of these missiles, which we've allowed to get into the hands of the Free Syrian Army and Al-Qaeda and any other crackpot knucklehead that wants to go grab one. The argument out there by anybody in the military community will tell you that these weapons, they're called MANPADs. They're man-portable air defense systems. And here's the biggest problem. They are the bane of counterterrorism and anti-terrorist forces because they're small, they're lightweight, they're portable. They weigh, 30 pounds? And with one, you can bring down an airliner. They're heat-seeking missiles. And they are intended to be fired from the shoulder of a guy hiding behind a bush. And they go right into the exhaust port. Woof-oom, have a nice day. All they've got to do to utilize these things and meet the projections of global worldwide terror is hang around within a 10-mile circle of any airport. Any airport. The absurdity of this and the fact that these weapons are in their hands. Listen, it may not have the scope and the scale of a terrorist organization getting a nuclear weapon, but I got to tell you something. When no one's willing to get in the air and fly, because these things have been proliferated throughout the world. And mark my words, if they started in Libya and they started in the Middle East, they're being smuggled all over the world right now. And at 30 pounds and literally no longer than a fishing pole, they're not hard to move. The Pentagon itself estimated that 20,000 of these made their way out of Libya after Muammar Gaddafi was, overthrown and killed. $20,000. Ladies and gentlemen, we won't have planes safe in the air for generations. In fact, maybe never again. Not in the lifetime of anyone who is, and the progeny of anyone who is currently alive on the planet. The truth of the matter is, this is part and parcel of the overall plan, if you will. Why? Well, because government needs an enemy. All government, whether it's Russian, Chinese, U.S., all of these governments, the European Union, all of the individual countries within the European Union, they all need weapons out there, and they need an enemy. To unify the sheep in their nations so that they can point to them and say, see, it's them. That's the reason. That's why we have to take away your free speech. That's why we have to disarm you. They are the reason why we have to monitor and surveil you. That's the reason why we need to be able to know everything about you. Because with that knowledge, we can keep you safe. That's why we need more tax money. If you don't give us more tax money, we can't keep you safe. It's no different than, and this will be our next topic, but it's the same scenario. You remember, we've all watched TV enough to know that, the guy gets dragged into the interrogation room at the police station, and the two cops go in there, and we've all heard the analogy of good cop, bad cop, right? And the one cop is like, listen, we got a lot of evidence against you, and if you just talk with us, we're gonna go easy on you, and we're gonna try to help you get out of this trouble you're in. And the guy says, I ain't saying nothing. And then the other cop jumps over the table and grabs him by the shirt and shakes him and says, listen, you piece of garbage. We're going to destroy you and your entire family. We're going to eat your dog on Thanksgiving Day because you won't tell. Good cop, bad cop. And the perpetrator says, oh, okay, I'll tell you whatever you want to know. It was Charlie. Think of it like this. It's a little different. Two guys walk into a store, and they go up to the owner, and they say, oh, I'm Joey Bag of Donuts, and this over here, this is Bobby the Busted Leg. So we're here to get our vig, and we're here to get a free meal. And the owner says, I don't understand. Well, we're here to offer you the protection that you need. We make sure you don't get robbed and the cops don't jazz you around. And he says, but I've never been robbed and I don't really have a problem with the police. And they're like, no, you don't understand. You need protection from us. Do you know why they call him Bobby Busted Knee? Because if you don't pay the vig, he's going to break your legs. What we have is a government that is no different than those thugs. They wear suits, they drive in limousines, they command enormous power, but their motivations, their recklessness, their willful intent, and completely willful or willingness to damage and or kill, and their lack of concern for collateral damage surrounding their actions is the same. What we have right now is exactly what Thomas Jefferson told us we would have. Two wolves and a sheep deciding what's for dinner. I'll leave you to decide which of those three characters you are. These missiles will be the bane of free people and enslaved people everywhere for generations to come. And they are the direct result of thugs in government who have been careless, could care less about the collateral damage, because ultimately they all believe that we're just really cattle to be, we're livestock. And a few of us get wiped out, it's really not a big deal. It's like a rancher who's got, 100,000 cattle. He can afford to lose a few. It's not a big deal. It's a blip on the radar screen. Mark my words, that is exactly how you are viewed. Nothing more and nothing less. And if a few airliners get shot down, hey, just gives us some fodder to go out there and convince these people to do what we tell them to do. You know what I'm saying? These missiles will be the bane of the citizens of the world for generations to come. And they have been allowed to escape out into dangerous hands, willfully, knowingly, by people who were only interested in how can I use their existence to my advantage, irrespective of the collateral damage. That, ladies and gentlemen, is your current government at work. It's not only yours, it's those overseas, it's everywhere. Look at the governments that run the world. We're the last bastion of freedom. We're the last pillar of freedom. And frankly, at this point, we've been whittled down from a sequoia to the stem of a rose. That's where we are. Anything else is all marketing. Anything else is nothing more than tomfoolery designed to get you to capitulate. To be quiet, go about your business, worry about just you and your immediate needs. And ignore the consequences of that reality. I love that quote from Ayn Rand. You've all heard me use it many times. I'll use it again. You can ignore reality, but you cannot ignore the consequence of that reality. We can live in denial, but ultimately, there's nowhere for us to hide. You've been listening to America's Voice Now. My name is Michael Evans. You can find us on our website at americasvoicenow.org. You can find us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/America's Voice Now. And you can find us on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/America's Voice Now. When we come back, we'll be talking a little bit more about this issue of Thugland USA. Because that is the truth, ladies and gentlemen. That's where we find ourselves. We're being bantered about by the good cop, bad cop theory. Think NSA. Think IRS. Think Russia. Think China. Think USA. Think war on terror. We'll be right back.